We have a retrieval of courses and that contain modules, right? And what we'd like to be able to do as well, right, is not only do the read-only, right, and retrieve the modules for a particular course, but how would we create a new module inside of a course? How do we establish this relationship in the first place? The way we established the relationship is that we went into the table and we added the foreign keys ourselves. Yes? More commonly, it would be done programmatically. So programmatic is somehow we would need to establish, hey, there's this module and I want to set it to be a child of this course. So how do we do that? So to do that, let's illustrate this as follows. Let's create here another module, and let's say let's add Angular, right? And Angular is a technology that would go in the web dev course, right, on number 4. So I'm going to insert it. So it exists right now as an orphan, right? It doesn't belong to any course. So we would like to be able to establish the relationship between these two programmatically. So how do we do that? So to do that, we're going to do it as follows. We're going to go into our controller, right? And we're going to say, we'll use get mapping. We'll say, add module to course. Right, so we'll put it in a function called the same name. So what we need to be able to do is we need to go fetch both objects. We need to go fetch the parent. We need to go fetch the child, right? And then add the child to the array. Right? We have an array. Right? The course has an array of modules. Right? The way you would do this in Java is if you have it in memory, basically you would say you would have a function called add module to course. Yes? And what it would do is that it would grab the list and would add or append, right, that object to the array. That's how you would do it in memory. Right? That's exactly what we're going to do. But we know that these objects are not going to be our objects. It's going to be an object that lives in the database already. Right? So we can go fetch the course. So let's fetch the web dev course. And so we can say use the course repository to find by ID. Find by ID. Oh, this one's gonna do it's gonna wrap it, right? It's gonna do a wrap. That's fine. Find by ID, and the ID I think it's 4. 4. And I'm going to get right away. I'm going to unwrap it. I know it's going to give me an optional. I'm going to unwrap it. I'm going to be optimistic that this is not null. Right? If it is null, then this is going to give me an exception. But obviously, you would wrap it inside of your own logic. But I'm lazy. I'm gonna get it right away. I'm optimistic that I have the web dev course, and now I'm going to have the module. And the module is Angular. And I'm going to use the other repository, right? This is the module repository. Yes, that's the module repository. And I do have here a better one. Find module by ID. So we have an ID, right? For Angular is number 10. See that? So I'm going to fetch number 10. There we go. So presumably I now have both objects in memory. Now I should be able to treat them as if they were just any two Java objects, right? I can say, hey, web dev object, get me the list of modules. Now I have a reference to the list of modules. Now I can treat it like any other list. I can say add the module, Angular. Notice that since I've modified the list, now the object is considered to be dirty, right? It's no longer in sync with the with its parent, with the record, right? We could have instead done it the other way around. we could have done Angular dot set course and said that it's web dev. We could have done that instead. You could do either one. You can say, hey parent, here's your child, or you can say, hey child, here's your parent. Right? Either way, right, when we store it in the database, it will update that foreign key. Right? But obviously you need to save the correct one. If you modified the child, you need to save the child. If you modify the parent, you need to save the parent. Here we modify the child, made it point to its parent. So we're going to save it. We're going to say repository dot save the Angular module. Okay, and we're going to return. I believe save returns something, so we can return just that. Oh, does it save? What does save return say? Blah blah blah. Okay, no, this does not return anything. So we could just return Angular. Oh, okay. Okay, so the course. So I guess web dev. Notice that if I return web dev right now, web dev is not going to know anything that it has its child, right? So typically in these functions of set course, right, you would have to do something as follows. You would have to say, yes, I know I am your. I know you're my parent now, right? But my parent doesn't know that I'm its child. See that? That's something that's very convenient in a relational database. You only have to update one field to establish the relationship, right? It is the child that always references its parent. Right? In Java, because we typically do it the other way around, we have the parent reference its child, but because we've added this additional reference, right, now we could have an ambiguity. We have to update both ends of the relationship. Not only do I need to tell the child who its parent is, but we need to tell the parent that now you have a new child. You see this? Right. So that's what the inconvenience comes along, right? If you need to be in a relational database, the foreign key primary key establishes a two-way relationship. You can look at it from either way, right? Just by making the foreign key in a select statement, you only need to say, is this equal to that? And you're done. You can navigate it from either end. In Java, no, right? Usually this relationship can be only navigated one way, right? If you're the parent, you can navigate to the children from your array. But once you're in the child, you can't go back unless you explicitly add a reference back. See that? So in Java, by default, the relationship is one way, one directional. But in a relational database is bidirectional. So to enforce that they both have bidirectionality, right? You get that for free in relational database. You don't get that for free in Java. You have to explicitly establish the relationship both ends. Anyway, once we establish this, we should be good. Let's restart over here, and let's call this add module to course. So let's call add module to course. So notice that there it is. There's Angular. It stores it, right? And and if you go back to the relational database and we refresh this, notice that Angular now has that 4 in there. See that? Right? It has automatically added that foreign key back to its parent. Make sense? Now again, we could have done it both ways. We could say set the child and set the parent, or we can have the parent add a child. Either way would have worked. Everybody good?